Hey everybody, Leo D here with another vlog, and in this vlog we're going to talk about lighting. Specifically, I'm going to address the question I've been asked a few times. How do I choose the lights I'm going to use, and how do I control those lights? So I've set up a couple lights here for a little demonstration. Let's take a look. First off, let me just say that by no means am I a DMX expert or any kind of expert in lighting. I got into lighting very late in the show. The only reason why I got into lighting is because I got booked for an event and the client wanted some type of dance floor lighting, so I had to rush out to a guitar center, and that's where I bought my first lights. So first, let's take a look at the different lights that I use and how I control them. So the first type of light that I use is actually the very first light that I ever bought. It's American DJ Hyperbeam. And basically this light is basically just a fixture that you turn on or turn off. There is no intelligence on this light. It just has a power cord and then a switch here to start and stop the prism rotation. One of the things that I look for when I'm purchasing the lights is I don't want to know what the light does simply by looking at it. So if you can't tell from looking at this, this is a moonbeam type of light that shoots its lights into a prism and then bounces off all the mirrors. It's a great effect and it gives all kinds of different colors. It looks great on the dance floor. The next type of fixture that I want to show you is something similar to this, which is the American DJ Freak 16. This is just a 16 diode strobe light, but it's really cool because each diode is an individual channel, or when you use it in UC3 mode. And what I mean by UC3 mode is basically I plug in a UC3 controller into this jack right here. You get all kinds of effects. This is a great light. Very hard to DMX this light because when you use it in DMX, the DMX controls each one of the diodes, and there is no way to go from the show mode to the all whiteout mode, which are two of the features that I really love about this light. That's why I use a UC3 controller with this light, because that way I can access all the different shows and at the same time do a whiteout mode where it's just basically all diodes on. It's a great crescendo effect. This is what a UC3 controller looks like. You can use this one that's wired, or I have one also that's wireless. Basically you get three options: standby, function, and then mode. And you can alternate and do different combinations from that. It's a really easy way to program and control your lights. You can have them all turn off basically with the standby mode. You can kick off the different functions, the different shows, and then you can kick it into different modes depending on the light. That either goes through a manual mode or a show mode or any other functions that the lights have. As I mentioned, I do have a UC3 wireless controller. This basically goes on the top of the stand. It has a wireless antenna to receive a signal from this, the remote control. And I can control 4 different fixtures that are UC3 compatible, and I can kick them off into different functions and different modes. So those are the first kind of lights that I got into. The first kind were the kind of lights that you just turn on, turn off, and they do their shows, and that's it. The second kind of lights are the actual lights that have the UC3 port, so you can turn them on, control whether they're in sound active mode, some type of manual mode, or in standby mode. And then as I upgraded my lighting, I got into moving heads. Now, one of the main features that I look for in all the fixtures that I buy is the ability to daisy chain power from unit to unit. It's very important for me because as I run my power to one of my stands, I don't want to have to run a line for every light fixture that's up there. So I just want to be able to plug in a IEC extension cable from here and plug that into the next fixture. So one of the main components that I had to adopt once I got into moving headlights is a DMX controller. So I have here for my demonstration 2 separate DMX controllers. The first one is the Chauvet Obey 10, which happens to be a 16-channel DMX controller, and the Chauvet Obey 70, which happens to be a 32-channel controller. One of the first things that we have to go over is DMX addressing, and that all depends on what you're using to send the DMX signal. First off, if you're using a DMX controller, you have to know what are the different addresses that the controller can support. That depends on a few things. The first factor that goes into your DMX addressing is the number of fixtures that your controller can handle. In this case, the Obey 10 can handle 8 different fixtures, where the Obey 70 can handle 12. The second factor that goes into your DMX addressing is how many channels the DMX controller has. In this case, This DMX controller has 16 channels, where the Obey 70 has 32. So the way DMX addressing works, fixture number 1 is address number 1. That is the very first channel available to the first fixture. And then depending on the controller that you're using, your next available address after that is fixture number 2. For example, if I'm using the Obey 10, fixture number 1 is on address 1. And it has 16 channels available to it. Fixture number 2 is on address 17 because that is the next available address after the last address from channel 1. And you would go up from there. If I was using the Obey 70, fixture number 1 would also be on address number 1, but fixture number 2 would be on address 33 because this controller goes up to 32 channels, and that is the next available channel after the first set of controls for fixture number 1. Now I'm pretty good at math, but when I'm on the spot and I'm setting these up and I'm rushing, I don't remember the numbers very well. So I do have a cheat sheet. Every time I go to an event and I'm addressing my lights, I open up my tablet and open up the spreadsheet, and on here I have all the different addresses that I could use for all the different fixtures and the 2 different controllers that I use. I haven't dived into the software DMX control, but I do believe that when you use the software DMX control, you basically address the fixture on the next available channel regardless of how many channels are available. The software adapts to whatever fixture you're using. So for example, if the light you're using has 4 channels, then the next fixture would be address 5. And if that light had 10 channels, then the next fixture would be 16, I believe. But don't quote me on that. So in this example now, I have 3 American DJ Mega Go Pars set up, daisy chained, plugged into my Chauvet Obey 70. I have them addressed as follows. Light number 1, address number 1. Light number 2, address 33. Light number 3, address 65. So now, if I press fixture 1, raise the dimmer master, and then select channel 1, 2, or 3 for the different colors available, I control light number 1. If I press fixture number 2 and do the same exact thing, there's light number 2. And if I press fixture number 3 and raise it, I do that. And if I press all 3 and do the same exact thing, all of them come on. To know what your fixture does on each control, you just have to reference your manual that came with each light. In this case, these lights are RGB, so that's red, that's green, and that's blue. Very simple lights. One of the things I like to use when I'm running lights and to alleviate the number of cables that I run to each light stand is to use these American DJ Wi-Fi transceivers. These units are great because as they're set up right now, they're ready to receive a DMX signal and pass it on through their output ports. But the minute I plug a DMX signal to one of them, now this one is transmitting the signal and all the other ones are now receiving the signal from it. So that is great because this single unit can send or receive depending on how I set them up. In a nutshell, that's how I run my lights. I know there's many different ways of doing it, but that's the way that works for me. But I look forward to hearing your comments. Post them down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you have any suggestions. If you've tried the DMX software, tell me what you think about that. Which one's better, the Chauvet, the American DJ, or another kind? I want to thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I'll have some more videos coming out in the future. Thanks again for watching. See ya.